Good evening and welcome to Newmarket High School here in Newmarket, New Hampshire. It is our Sentinel Title Services Game of the Week, Division 4 quarterfinal matchup. The number 2 seeded Newmarket Mules going up against the Epping Blue Devils, the 7th seed in this tournament. Epping got here by virtue of a victory over Sunapee the other night. It was Woodsville was the victim, 62-19, on a night when Newmarket leading scorer Christian Hawkins scored his 1,000th career point. For Epping, it's all about the Stanley brothers, Frank and Jimmy. They led the team on that victory against Epping the other night, and they're going to be the reason that this team has a chance tonight to knock off number 2 Newmarket here on Newmarket's home floor. We'll get to the halftime highlights, all the action from this one, and then the post game. And don't forget, if you want to relive this memory over and over again, you're a parent, you're a coach, you want to remember you're a player, we're going to have full DVD with my play-by-play available for all these games. You just go on our website, nhsportspage.com, and look for the link that you can find, and you can get information on how to get that full game DVD. As Newmarket in the home whites, Epping in the red dark uniforms. Right off the bat, Epping scores a quick one. Brandon Carlton with the Hawkins middle of the floor, right side with a dribble. Hawkins top of the key. Leahy bounce passes over to the left side three, and Morin sinks it, and it's 3-2 Newmarket. Stanley with the basketball, right side Young. They go to Frank Stanley, low block, his follow-away shot, and it's good. So Frank Stanley's got his first. So Jimmy Stanley will bring it inbounds. Gets it into his brother, and he scores off the inbounds. Nice pass. Hawkins swings it right side. Leahy for 3. And that one is good. He's got 6. And the lead is now 2, 12-10. Hawkins reverse layup. Explosive move on the baseline. Gets it on the high post for Frank Stanley. Nice pass down low to Hackett. Hangs in the air and converts a pretty 2. Alex Hackett. It is halftime of this Division 4 quarterfinal. Newmarket and Epping, number 2 Mules against the number 7 Blue Devils. Pete Terrier along with Ryan O'Leary of the Seacoast Media Group, seacoastonline.com. Low scoring first half, but I think you can expect that when 2 rivals like Epping and Newmarket go head to head.
Yeah, the first 2 minutes was all aggression and not too much basketball. You know, it was all nerves and you know, a lot of physical play, a lot of turnovers, and I think it's 22-16 Newmarket, but advantage Epping. They want the game in the 40s. They want that defensive game, and Newmarket wants to play the high-scoring game. So I think they're down, but advantage Epping at half. That's what I think.
I like what I've seen so far from Christian Hawkins. He seems really aggressive, trying to get to the basket, not settle for 3-pointers. But I really think that they need to find another guy to really help him take some of the load off.
Yeah, well, their other guy is Josh Eisfeller, their center. And I think what we saw in that first half is Frank Stanley, Epping's 1,000-point scorer, is an elite defender too. And he's really taken Eisfeller out of the game. Eisfeller has no points. He's a guy that averages a double-double a game. So Newmarket's got to get Eisfeller going, and you know, and they need other guys too. It can't just be Hawkins, because Hawkins is dealing with Jimmy Stanley, who's not an easy matchup either. So.
Well, you mentioned the Stanley brothers, Frank and Jimmy, and it would seem to think that those 2 guys are going to have to carry this Epping team if they're going to upset Newmarket tonight. I mean, that has to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And Epping needs to find a way to get Jimmy some jump shots. They had one little backdoor play where he missed the layup, but they got to find a way to get him off some screens and get him, you know, get him open from the outside, because that's his game. And Newmarket's taken that away pretty well. And Frank's going to get his points. He's just very dynamic. He can score in a variety of ways. Double teams he can get through. So, but I think Epping's going to get Jimmy going.
Yeah, he's got 8 points. Frank does. Jimmy's only got 2, and that was in the first quarter. For Newmarket, you got Hawkins with 11. Should be a fun second half. Thanks to Ryan O'Leary. Look for the story tomorrow, Seacoast Online. He's a good writer, folks. We enjoy having you on.
Thanks, Pete.
Low block, Eisfeller, shut off, double teamed. Got it away to Leahy. Leahy, one-handed hook in the lane. And a pretty move by Leahy. Out of bounds. Hawkins bounces it right to Eisfeller, but he couldn't collect it cleanly. Now he's double teamed, spins away from the double team, and drops it in. Nice move. Ball left side, Carlton. Carlton working against Morin. Left baseline, nice move, spins to the hole. Offensive rebound and putback by Jimmy Stanley. Bring it up on the dribble himself. Fleming in the front court. Bounce pass, low block, Eisfeller, strong take. Nice touch off the window. 32 to 8. Here's Hawkins. Gets it inbounds. Eisfeller collects. Got blocked by Carlton. Back the other way. Frank Stanley at the buzzer. And he banks it in! He banked it in at the buzzer. 36-21 from half. 7 minutes left in the game. Hawkins has it left baseline. Strong take to the hole. He saw an opening and he capitalized. And that's it. 53-27. Newmarket. They're moving on. It is 53-27, the final score. Newmarket wins, advances to the D4 Final Four against their rivals from Epping. I'm here with Josh Eisfeller, Christian Hawkins, and Sam Leahy. And I'll start with you, Josh. You really came alive in that third quarter. We're scoreless in the first half, and it was still a close game. I think a 6 or 8 point game at the break. And then you really started to assert yourself down low in that third quarter. And I think it opened things up for you guys.
Yeah, I wasn't playing very aggressive in the first half, and then I started to play more aggressive, then other people started getting open, and then we went on a good run.
And Christian, you were a big catalyst there, especially in the second period. I had you for 9 of your 11 at the half there. So did you try and take that upon yourself in the second quarter? You guys only scored 7 points in the entire first quarter, so you seemed to really come out more aggressively in that second quarter.
Yeah, I was just I was taking some good shots. I wasn't trying to force it, and I knew that we were down, so I had to make some big shots at the end, just focus and finish, and they went down for me, so we ended up pulling away.
Speaking of big shots at the end, Sam Leahy was money from the free throw line. I don't know if you knew, but you had an 11 for 11 streak going at the line, and then you missed your 12th free throw, but you finished 12 of 13 from the stripe, and it finished with 17 points, so you were obviously stroking it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, on the season, my free throw shooting hasn't been great, but tonight, something about the feeling of the shot was going in, so they kept fouling me, so I kept hitting. So I was proud of myself for getting some good free throw shots in. So.
And you guys, the key or the goal, I guess, at the beginning of the season is to get to Plymouth, and you guys have now achieved that goal. Just want to get your thoughts. I don't know who you're playing yet. I know you play the winner of that Profile Lisbon game. Have you guys heard yet?
No, we haven't heard yet, but either way, we're going to come in prepared and we're going to execute the same way we did tonight and go to the finals.
I want to talk to you particularly about the Stanley brothers, because the Stanley brothers pose a lot of problems defensively, but you guys did a phenomenal job. Frank had 11 points, only 3 of them in the second half, and Jimmy Stanley only finished with 6 points. So can you talk about the defensive effort you guys did on those two?
We had to play on one-on-one. We'd have help too, so if they burned by us, then we'd have our other teammates on help, and then we just worked out.
Let me ask you guys about this. You're going into the Final Four. Is there any reason why Newmarket can't win this thing? I'll give it to you.
There's no reason. We're really confident. We've come together as a good team. We have faith in each other and our coach. He knows what he's doing. He sets us up for success. So if we just do what he's telling us, listen to him, then there's no way we can lose. If we play as a team, not individually. So.
All right, guys. Thanks so much, Sam Leahy, Christian Hawkins, Josh Eisfeller. They're going to the Final Four against who? We don't know yet, but I'm sure they don't care. Thanks, guys. Coach Jamie Hayes of the Newmarket Mules headed to the Final Four, victorious against their rivals Epping 53-27. When you think about that final score, you gave up 19 the other night in the prelims. That's some good defense in your first 2 playoff games.
Yeah, that's we start everything with our defense, and then we just fuel from there. That we know the old adage, defense wins championships, and we've started our program on that, and we can't let it go now.
Offensively, you got some help. Sam Leahy, I don't know if that's a season high for him, but he had 17 points tonight. And at one point, he was 11 for 11 from the free throw line. Ended up finishing 12 for 13, but he was huge, especially in that second half in the fourth quarter in particular.
Yeah, he's really played well this last month or so of the season. When we played Epping the last time, I think he had 16. He really came, they did a good job of trying to take away Hawkins and Icefeller, and Sam stepped up, and not to mention the defense that he plays, and he's a tough matchup. He's 6'2" as a guard now, so he can go in and finish with the big boys, and he's quick enough to take you off the dribble and everything. So he's really having a good year.
I talked to the guys about the job they did on the Stanley brothers. I mean, they had only 17 combined. They had 27 as a team,
right.
But I mean, they just couldn't really even get the ball tonight.
Yeah, that was one thing we really keyed on. We had a couple guys where every time one of them caught, it was just run and double and blitz them and try to get the ball out of their hands, and it seemed to work. I don't think they got many uncontested shots tonight.
What do your spies tell you about that game up north? You'll play the winner of it, Profile Lisbon. Any word?
I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't gotten to my phone yet, but they're saying it's a coin flip, so it'll be interesting to see. I think both teams are kind of similar. Both teams have some shooters and play a lot of zone and everything. So when you get to the Final Four, anything can happen. So we'll see. We know we have to defend and execute.
Coach Jamie Hayes, congrats on that trip to the Final Four. Have fun in Plymouth.
Thank you.
53-27, our Sentinel Title Services Game of the Week. Pete Terrier joined once again by Ryan O'Leary from SeacoastOnline.com. He'll have the story in the paper and online, of course. Impressive performance by the Newmarket Mules tonight. I don't know any other way to describe it.
Well, I'm going to bore everybody who's going to watch this, Pete, and say defense and free throws in the second half. It was just an elite performance by Newmarket, who has 8 seniors, and I just thought they were just more ready for the moment there in that second half. They took the game over defensively, and they hit almost all their free throws. I think they missed like 3 or 4 in the whole second half. So it was a great performance by those guys, and they were definitely the better team.
Yeah, I don't have them for one miss, and it was Leahy who was 12 of 13, so that's not too bad. They only missed, I think, 2 in the entire game.
Right, I was thinking about the whole game. You're right.
Crazy. That's good shooting and great defense on the Stanley brothers.
Yeah, I thought Newmarket played it well. They put their football linebacker on Frank early, Jake Valinsky, and Josh Icefeller did a good job. But it was really the whole team. They knew that Epping's guards aren't going to shoot as much. They really cheated off and helped, and Epping never got Jimmy Stanley going, and Frank had a tough time. It was just they took those two keys to the engine away, and Epping had a hard time scoring.
What do you think Newmarket's chances are in the Final Four? I mean, obviously there's not a lot of familiarity with some of these northern teams. I saw them play Derryfield in person a few weeks ago, and Derryfield beat them in that game. It was a heck of a game, but they're as good as anybody, I think, in D4.
Yeah, Derryfield's got that size that can really give anyone problems, and so they can really play with anybody. And they're a good defensive team. And it's going to be that great unknown. There could be some northern teams like those Profiles and Littletons that Newmarket hasn't seen yet, so that they could see at PSU. But I love their chances because they have 8 seniors, and they've been to the Final Four. This is going to be their 6th year in a row, but they have 8 seniors this year, and they're led by Christian Hawkins, who's probably the D4 Player of the Year potentially. So they have a great chance, very good chance.
And if they do win their first title, Jamie Hayes just told me, since 1986. Yeah. I was a sophomore in high school. You probably weren't even born back then.
1 years old.
That tells you something. Ryan O'Leary, SeacoastOnline.com. Thanks so much. We look forward to your work.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, man.